So obviously I'm in a bit of a different setting than I normally am, sitting at my desk recording these videos. I'm in my living room this evening. And what I want to do today is something that I do every year, and I thought, and it's always been helpful for me, and I thought perhaps it would be helpful for you, so let's do the exercise together. Today's video is entitled Setting New Year's Goals for Your BPD. Studies have shown that when you physically write down your goals, so whether on a piece of paper that you put on your fridge, or whether it's on your iPhone or your smartphone or your tablet or your computer, wherever you may place them. For me, it's a dry erase board. Studies show that the more you actually write them down, the closer you can become to realizing those goals. The psychology being that if a goal is out of mind, you may not be on top of it, you may not stick to it every day, but if you physically see something in your face on a day-to-day basis, you can realize your goals. And you can do this research for yourself, but I want to say that something like people who wrote down their goals reached like 60 to 80% of them, 60 to 80%, while those who didn't achieved a much lower number. So this is something that I do every year. And throughout the year, I keep in my home a dry erase board. And it's taken many different variations. I'm not going to post exactly my board to you in frame so that you can see what it looks like. But each year, at the start of the year, I will create a new list of goals, and they are centered on several different categories. And I'm going to reference my board, which is right behind me. So I'm going to show it to you now. Okay. So this is my dry erase board. Yes, I do a lot of writing. Indeed. And so different years have taken different sorts of forms. So one year I kind of had, when I was really, so this is maybe like 2014, 2015, when I was really hardcore working on my dialectical behavior skills, I put DBT at the center of the board, and then out from each of those I put goals, which kind of made me remember that if I wasn't successful at DBT and recovering psychologically, that I would most likely not be successful in the other goals. So I will share with you some categories of how I have structured my goal boards, and then I'm gonna take a break, dry it off, start from scratch, and then we'll do the goals together a little bit of time. And I won't list all my goals, but some. So one of the structures that I do is sort of like I'll do an overarching goal, and I have 4 subgroups of goals. And so in my 4 subgroups are the following 5 actually. So I will put goals, just like overarching goals. Then last year I put a category business goals. Next to that I put a category creative goals. The category after that was relationship goals, and the category after that was health goals. And so I'll read a little bit to you what was in each of these categories last year. At the top of this, I also did something that might be helpful for you. And I kind of wrote out some notes here, like who am I? What would I like in 2020? How did I get there? What are 10 or 15 attributes that I'd like to be known for? And then I listed all my goals here at the bottom. And another helpful thing that I've done as I've achieved goals throughout the year, and I keep a nice bag of dry erase markers and other tools, I will sort of check mark off these goals as I go along through the year. And in addition to having year goals, I find it very helpful to also create quarterly goals, monthly goals, right? For me, especially if you have black or white thinking, it can be very difficult to set smaller steps to your goals. And I think that's really important into achieving a big goal. For instance, some of my big goals have been investment, building my retirement fund, working more on DBT. Another one would be learning how to be more self-partnered, working on my female friendships, things like that. But what does that look like, right? And so I would make I would break that down into sort of 3-month goals, 6-month goals, 9-month, 12-month goals to sort of help keep track and make those goals more attainable by breaking them down in constructive ways so that I could actually achieve them and not feel somehow disenfranchised by not achieving them. So, and like I said, and as I went on through the year, if I achieved something, I would check mark it off. Now, this year after March was a hot mess. So, a lot of these goals that I wrote here, I think my overarching goal just became like, don't die of COVID. So, and I'm succeeded, yay! So let me just read a little bit off of this, of what I put on my goal board for last year. And again, you could write this, it can be as detailed as you want it. It could be as, I recommend being as detailed as you can with it. You can put it on a dry erase board like this. If you share your place with someone and you don't want them to see, like I keep mine like right at the front of the kitchen because every day I see it when I walk into the kitchen, or I'm in the kitchen a lot, right? Or you can put it on your iPhone. You could also create iPhone reminders, right? So you can use your cell phone to, I don't mean to disenfranchise anyone that has an Android. So when I say iPhone, it's smartphone, but you can use your reminders or your notes app or you could put these goals on your calendar. You can put them on your tablet, however is helpful to you. So let's get going. So the way that I structured this last year, so I had, like I said, these 4 up top groups and then like 5 goal groups at the bottom. So who am I? This is how I wanted, in sort of this search for knowing who we are and our identity with BPD and how that can become difficult. It's helpful for me to at least sit and reflect, okay, what am I? What defines me? What do I like? What do I actually like? Instead of glomming on to a like that somebody else has in hopes that they'll like me if I like that, right? So the things that I came up with were protector, survivor, traveler, scuba diver, friend, artist, funny, caring, adventurer, right? So those are just sort of some things like, okay, this is me. This is what I like. The next one that I had here as an overarching goal was, what would I like in 2020? Travel, less codependency, building up my business, investing more in my 401k, work on my BPD workbook, open a photography business, be more positive, less judgy, worry less, attract no narcissists. Now, as I'm reading through these, I would say maybe half of these I worked on pretty solidly. Investing in my 401k, that didn't really happen too much. I sort of fell off the wagon with the BPD workbook, but that's okay, right? Like I've still done steps. At least when I'm making a budget or keeping things in mind, like where will I move next? I'm thinking of a long-term financial plan. Okay, how do I get there, right? How do I get to my goals? Okay, be fiscally smart. Take out your BPD workbook. Plan ahead or cope ahead. Save, meaning save money. Work diligently and stick to a schedule. Heal trauma with YouTube videos, seminars, books, and reflection. Be true to me. Make time for me. Set boundaries. Okay, so I would say that out of those, I've probably hit maybe about 60 to 80% of those. I definitely worked on my business. I definitely grew. I definitely became smarter. I had to kind of compromise on that a bit once we hit the pandemic. Like I leaned on credit cards a little bit more than I would have liked to, but you have to do what you have to do to survive in these types of situations. Read books and reflection. I ordered them. I haven't read them all. That's my 2021 goal. Make time for me, absolutely. I think, excelled at, doing more yoga, like spas and bath times, taking off a day, chilling with my animals, making sure that I spend enough quality time walking my dog and make sure I excuse exercise. Planning ahead, yep, I'm a big planner. So I think with those, I did pretty good. And then I listed like 10 or 15 attributes that I'd like to be known for throughout the year. And so, perhaps if you, like maybe 5 years ago, I would say I wasn't very dependable. I wasn't really very reliable. And so over the years, I've sort of like listed these attributes that I'd like to be known for more and more. So some of the attributes that I listed that I'd like to be known for: reliable, compassionate, strong, helpful, logical, understanding, kind. I'm someone that has good boundaries, respectful, healthy, non-judgmental, fun, level-headed, logical, assertive, not aggressive, kind. I think patient. I would say I've done a lot. I've been a bit more effective at hitting these on a more consistent basis. You know, still I would like to work on non-judgmentalness. I would still like to learn on being more, I would say I'm level-headed. I think the thing for me that I always need to work on is anger. So I've done this little recap here so that we can kind of, you know, go through. It's helpful to go through, like, I see this a lot in my videos, that there are no gold stars in therapy, and that you have to be your own advocate, and you have to say, yes, I did a really good job at this, and yes, I did a really good job at that. So doing this inventory, like, even like, this is the first time I'm looking at this in several weeks, this board. And it helps, one, keep you accountable, and then two, actually saying it out loud has made me actually feel pretty good this evening, because I was like, yeah, you know, like, I did do a lot of these things that I set out to do. Now, obviously, to travel and stuff like that, I had plans to travel, that didn't work out. So now I'm going to go through the goals. I'll hit a few of these goals so you can get an idea of things that I have put. And then what I'm going to do is we'll take a break, I'll wipe the board, and then I will write some new goals. One thing I also do every year to kind of keep track of this, and so I only write this board about once a year. You know, I can make changes and stuff like that. But what I do is I take a picture of it and then I store it in a folder on my iPhone. And so generally I've named that folder Goal Board. And so probably for the last 3 years now, I have pictures of what that board looked like. And that's a nice metric to kind of track your progress. I've also done a video about how your cell phone can help your BPD, so check out that video. I offer some other tips about how your cell phone can be beneficial in helping you recover. Okay, so here are these. So the money goals. So this was the first category. I misread that wrong the first time. So my money goals: 401k, invest, no credit card debt, save more, work towards your taxes, because I have to put away my taxes individually because I'm self-employed. Cut back, save more, make a retirement plan, have money for travel. Okay, here were my business goals. Okay, open my business, which I did. Open a photo business, buy a camera. So I wanted to buy this really nice $3,000 camera. Haven't been able to do that yet. Develop my website. I did do that. Look more at your creative goals. Haven't really done that. Here are my creative goals. Create a YouTube channel, ? Yes, check. Okay, good. Work on writing a book. That did not really happen. Photos, working on photos. I take like tons of photos. Like in my library, I probably have like close to 90,000 videos on my computer. So yeah. Excuse me. Hello. Hi, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, relationship goals. Setting more boundaries, no narcissists, develop friendships, be a good friend. Some of these I'm finding hard to read. Self-partner, being true to me, discover authentic self, care more about what I think about me than what other people think about me. Think on this. Do I like this person rather than do they like me? I have hit lots of those. I didn't get into any kind of romantic relationships this year. I had a couple of opportunities, but I didn't really pursue them, and they kind of stopped responding, so that's fine. But I would say that I hit that pretty well. Health goals, yoga, yeah, or self-care, whatever. Budget more time for me, eat healthy, sleep well, exercise, no unhealthy people, no fighting, being happy and healthy. I would say that the fighting and the anger, that's a kicker for me. But the rest, I would say I stuck very well to. I'm great on my self-care. I've picked back up with yoga. So that was the goal board. Again, this is what it looks like. Yeah, right? Okay. Make sure obviously it's legible for you. So now we're gonna take a break and I'm gonna erase this, and then as we go along, I'm gonna set some goals.